That state's witness will also testify that Marquise Conway was one of the individuals responsible for a portion of that payment.
Dallas hip-hop has seen plenty of drama, but when MO3 was shot on I-35 in broad daylight, the whole city froze. Nobody thought the fallout would spiral like this. Now, 5 years later, prosecutors claim Yella Beezy pulled out $100,000 in cash right after the incident, and bank cameras supposedly caught everything. This case turned way messier than anyone expected. This is the breakdown of how a Dallas rap rivalry went from simple music competition to something deeply dangerous.
I mean, you came out with these Trapping Designer records, and what's the latest one that's out right now that's going crazy?
That's on me.
That's on me going crazy. What, like 500,000? What, like a month?
Nah, shit. Right now it says 700,000.
7.
That November afternoon in 2020 was just another regular day in the city. I-35E was jammed with workers heading to jobs, truck drivers moving loads, and everyday people trying to push through the day. But what happened next shook the entire rap world and sparked a street narrative that dragged on for 5 long years. This is the raw story of how two of Dallas's most respected rap voices went from dropping tracks to facing real danger on the pavement.
When Yella Beezy got shot up, what were your thoughts about that?
I gotta stay out the way.
Okay.
Out here, shit. You get hit up every day out here, like.
One artist ended up on the ground, and another found himself battling major criminal accusations that could lock him away for a very long time. The stakes went sky high in a way nobody saw coming. But pause for a second, because to really understand how this chaos exploded in broad daylight on a packed freeway, we gotta rewind everything. We need to dig into how this whole situation even started.
Now, here's the thing. I gotta believe if MO3 is in this vehicle, I gotta believe that MO3, it doesn't really feel like he's that much in danger or that this person is trying to kill him. You get what I'm saying? And the reason why I gotta believe that is that the dude passes him. MO3 could have slowed down. Let's say the guy's going 60. Reduce your speed to 30.
Like a lot of street conflicts, it kicked off over something way smaller than anyone would have imagined. It grew, stretched, twisted, and turned until it became something none of them could control. To really piece this together, we gotta look at both of their backgrounds.
Yeah, nah, you know, they was misinformed about some rap beef, and I was like, nah, I ain't got no rap beef with nobody. I ain't got no rap beef with no rapper in my city. And no rap beef.
The neighborhoods that shaped them, the people who stood with them, and that intense mix of ambition, loyalty, and street pride that pushed both sides forward. Nobody could overlook Yella Beezy, real name Marquise DeAndre Conway, who came straight out of Oak Cliff, a neighborhood known for strength, scars, and non-stop struggles. Growing up in the early 90s, his whole life flipped when his father was taken inside their home on Mother's Day, and he was only 12.
Well, after we did the interview with you, I interviewed MO3.
Who?
MO3.
I don't know who that is.
Well, I asked about the shooting, and he said there's no beef, but, you know, he said you just gotta stay out the way, it's real out here.
That kind of pain forces a kid to grow up fast and see the world in a colder way. Surrounded by that gritty southern trap sound blasting from every corner store and every car rolling through the block, Conway found his escape in music. By 9, he was already writing bars, using rhymes to deal with emotions he didn't know how to say out loud. It wasn't about fame back then. It was straight survival, a way to keep himself steady without letting anyone see him breaking. As he hit his late teens and early 20s, those private notebooks turned into real work in Dallas's underground scene.
Do you see somebody running down the street?
I do not.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, okay.
Okay, so you're saying that all that is just nonsense?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Internet be reaching.
Yella Beezy's energetic flow made his early tapes hit hard, capturing real Texas trap life with a raw edge. Everyone in that world felt his rise really sparked when he dropped tracks mixing catchy hooks with genuine street stories, and Trappin' Designer turned into a full Dallas anthem that had people repeating every bar without even trying. That buzz grabbed the attention of Hitco Entertainment, founded by L.A. Reid, pushing Yella into the big leagues where the pressure and money got serious. From there, he kept climbing with national hits like That's On Me, proving he could make bass-heavy tracks that appealed to both street listeners and mainstream crowds. Major collabs came fast.
I'm not having a standoff in the middle of the highway. I'm keep driving. I'm flooring it, right? I'm keep flooring this bitch, okay? But MO3 actually stops, but it appears MO3 must have been under the assumption, oh, this pussy nigga is playing with me. Maybe recognize the guy or recognize the car. And he's like, let me go get my chopper.
Chris Brown on Restroom Occupied, Lil Wayne on Hit, and Gucci Mane on Back at It Again, each one boosting his reach even more. In an interview, Yella Beezy's rise from a nervous newcomer to a confident industry name wasn't smooth at all. Drama kept following him, mostly tied to the same streets that shaped his music. Legal cases and constant pressure painted him as someone navigating a tough environment where survival looked different depending on who was watching. Now shift to North Dallas, where another young talent was building his own lane. MO3, born Melvin Abdul Noble Jr., raised in a faith-centered home and active at Greater Hope Holiness Church, he grew up in a space where family and belief mattered.
That state's witness will also testify that Marquise Conway was one of the individuals responsible for a portion of that payment. The state's witness will also testify to the individual who would receive this payment. The state's witness will testify that Kewan White was, in fact, the individual to receive this payment, who was originally indicted in State's Exhibit number 1.
Even while North Dallas carried its own mix of struggle and hope. Born in 1992, Noble learned to turn his pain into music, dropping emotional bars that felt more like real testimony than entertainment. Inspired by Boozy's raw honesty, he used rap as an outlet, blending smooth melodies with straight, unapologetic street truths. MO3 really took off after his 2014 mixtape Shatas, building a strong Dallas following through music that showed real hood realities with no sugarcoating. MO3's rise was built the real way. Word of mouth, local shows, and an emotional delivery that kept crowds locked in.
The state has also had an opportunity to review bank records of the defendant, Marquise Conway. These records would show that the defendant drew $40,000 in the days following the murder of Melvin Noble. And for the record, that was a cash withdrawal. These records would correspond to the exact amount which the state's witness would testify to.
Everything shifted when Boozy noticed him, leading to a label deal and mentorship that pushed MO3 far beyond Dallas. Their joint album, Badass Mo3, became a major milestone, proving he could hold his own with established names. Tracks like Everybody and his sharp diss records showed how easily he could switch from heartfelt pain to hard-hitting bars that reminded people he wasn't to be played with. But in Dallas's underground scene, where ambition and street ties mix fast, the tension between Yella Beezy and MO3 was already heating up before things turned tragic.
Saying he pulled a certain amount of money out of his
Say
bank
he pulled
account.
out 40,000 out of his account, and I'm thinking like, that's not really that uncommon for someone like a Beezy, honestly.
What started as low-key competition grew into personal disrespect, dangerous encounters, and rumored retaliation that had fans watching every update while families dealt with real heartbreak. This wasn't one sudden explosion. It was a slow buildup of small issues, rumors, and territory pride that can make rap conflicts escalate quick. Roy Lee Phipps Jr., a Dallas comedian known for sharp online roasts, jumped into the mix by calling out Yella Beezy's street credibility. He accused Yella of boosting his Oak Cliff ties for clout, basically labeling him a fake, something that cuts deep because questioning authenticity can wreck a rapper's reputation fast. Since Roy Lee was close to MO3, his attacks pulled MO3 into the situation even without him saying much. Things heated up after Roy Lee reportedly confronted Yella's crew at a club and ended up getting jumped, but he kept roasting until tragedy hit. In late 2018 or early 2019, he was shot in the leg and later passed due to complications which shook the whole city. Street talk started pointing at Yella or people around him, suggesting retaliation, though nothing was ever proven. The moment Roy Lee passed, the whole vibe shifted from jokes to something more serious. And MO3 felt pressure to stand up for someone he considered close. On top of all this, Yella's connections to the Rollin 60s brought organized street loyalty into the picture. And in Dallas, that kind of backing can turn simple problems into crew-level conflict.
I
You're
like
gonna
having
need those
cash around.
people.
Like I'll have like, a few thousand cash just lying around just to have. I've pulled out
Yeah.
5, 10, 20,000, 40,000.
No, that's a fact.
I remember I bought a watch, I pulled out 70,000. Like this happens when you have money in your accounts.
But guess what? You could have went and provided a receipt for the watch, right?
Things escalated even more when, in October 2018, Yella survived a shooting on the North Dallas Tollway, an ambush that left him hospitalized. When people asked MO3 about the rising violence in Dallas, especially the shootings involving rappers, his calm reaction was unsettling, like danger was just part of daily life. Rumors tied him to the Tollway attack, calling it payback for Roy Lee, even though both he and Yella publicly denied any role. By February 2020, things heated up again at a Dallas club when Yella Beezy allegedly got into it with Brandon Rainwater, MO3's manager. Reports claimed Rainwater took a heavy beatdown, ended up with a dislocated hip, and later filed a lawsuit. Even while this was happening, both artists kept acting like everything was cool, dropping subtle shots instead of full-on admissions. In one interview, Yella brushed off questions about MO3 with a dismissive tone that said more than the words themselves. And MO3 fired back by insisting there was no organized beef in Dallas, saying blogs were exaggerating everything for clicks and attention. MO3 brushed off the rumors, saying internet be reaching, but behind all those public denials, something far more serious was building up. A deadly plan was forming, one that would explode on a crowded Dallas freeway and turn a rap rivalry into a full-scale murder case that gripped the whole country for years. November 11th, 2020 started like any normal Wednesday in Dallas. Clear skies, heavy traffic, and everyone out chasing their day's money. Around noon, MO3 was driving north on I-35E near the Oak Lawn exit, a stretch every local knows is packed with commuters and big rigs rolling non-stop. What happened next was caught on an 18-wheeler's dash cam, recording every second of an attack investigators later called a cold, calculated hit. A dark-colored car pulled up beside MO3's vehicle, and without any warning, the shooter let off rounds. Bullets sliced through the air, smashing into MO3's car and sending him swerving as drivers around him panicked and slammed their brakes in shock. MO3 jumped out of his car and sprinted across the freeway, dodging traffic as drivers slammed their brakes in panic. The shooter, calm and locked in on his target, stepped out of his own vehicle and chased after him with his weapon in hand. Witnesses later described a chilling scene. Someone dressed in all black with their face covered, moving with purpose as they followed MO3 across multiple lanes before firing the shot that ended everything. MO3 collapsed on the pavement, suffering multiple wounds as the entire freeway froze in shock. First responders rushed in, but within minutes he passed away at a nearby hospital, cutting short a rising career and triggering an investigation that would stretch on for years. When the dashcam footage eventually surfaced in court, media figures like DJ Academics analyzed every second for millions of viewers wanting answers. The video showed MO3 trying to weave through traffic to get away, looking like he didn't fully realize just how dangerous the moment had become. Academics later broke down MO3's split-second decision, pointing out how things might have gone differently if he had just kept driving instead of stopping. At the scene, detectives found dozens of shell casings scattered across the freeway, clear signs that a high-powered semi-automatic weapon had been fired rapidly and repeatedly. The shots left MO3 with severe injuries to his back and torso, wounds that told investigators he was trying to run for his life when he was hit. Dashcam clips from nearby drivers, along with highway surveillance videos, showed pieces of the whole event. MO3's gold sedan, full of bullet holes, and the suspect's black car left behind after the shooter made their move. The footage also outlined the chase and the shooter's controlled, step-by-step actions, helping police rebuild the exact timeline of those chaotic minutes. What made the situation even wilder was the location. Broad daylight on a major freeway, surrounded by regular drivers, showing how bold the attacker was, focusing only on finishing the hit no matter who saw it. A 22-year-old on parole at the time quickly became the main suspect after Dallas PD released surveillance images showing someone who looked just like him near the scene. Q1 Dontrell White, who already had past firearm issues, was arrested about a month later in December 2020 after tips and forensic evidence tied him to both the car and the weapon used in the attack. Investigators described him as the trigger man, the one allegedly paid to carry out the hit for whoever wanted MO3 gone. His original murder charges later shifted into a plea deal on gun-related counts, and he agreed to serve 9 years while cooperating with prosecutors and giving testimony about the person they believed was behind the plan. Another man, Devin Brown, was also indicted in 2025 alongside White and Yella Beezy, accused of helping set up the hit, though the exact details of what he did stayed unclear even as charges moved forward. But the biggest shock in the Dallas rap world came when investigators focused on who they thought might have ordered everything from the background. Yella Beezy, real name Marquise DeAndre Conway, was eventually charged with capital murder for hire, with prosecutors claiming he arranged the hit during a long-running feud that had been building for years. Dallas PD launched a fast manhunt after the murder, releasing surveillance images that quickly pointed to White as the shooter. Early investigations centered on physical evidence, ballistics linking shell casings to a weapon tied back to White, along with witness statements that supported the timeline of that deadly November day. But after those first steps, the case stalled as detectives struggled to prove a motive or figure out who might have funded or organized the hit. Things didn't move again until street informants started talking and White began cooperating, leading to claims that money was allegedly put up by Yella Beezy in response to past conflicts and rising tension between both camps. The timeline stretched from the 2020 killing all the way to arrests in 2025. A long 5-year delay caused by the need to back up street rumors with real evidence, deal with cooperating witnesses who came with their own motives, and fight through issues like missing digital trails and people scared to speak up. Witness memories fading, fear inside the rap scene, and the struggle to prove a murder-for-hire plan without clear records all made the case tough to build. Surveillance footage and collected evidence became the backbone of the prosecution's push against Yella Beezy. Highway cameras tracked the cars in real time, while dashcam clips showed the chase and shooting as they happened on the packed interstate. But the piece prosecutors leaned on hardest came from financial records that told their own story. Bank documents showed Yella Beezy withdrew $40,000 in cash shortly after the murder, which prosecutors claimed was tied to the hit, even though his defense insisted it was just coincidence. The withdrawal was reportedly caught on bank security cameras, and investigators subpoenaed that footage to confirm the timing, though it hasn't been released publicly to protect the case. Phone records added more heat, showing communication between Yella Beezy and White around the time everything went down, with cell tower data placing their phones close to each other before and after MO3's death. Rumors linking Roy Lee's 2019 death to people around Yella Beezy pushed the idea of a revenge cycle spinning way out of control. Brandon Rainwater's reported club assault, blamed on Yella, brought lawsuits and added even more tension between both camps. Then the October 2020 shooting that targeted Yella was whispered to be MO3's retaliation, creating a back-and-forth pattern that kept the conflict alive. As the case moved toward trial, the mix of evidence, much of it still circumstantial, started forming a picture. Prosecutors claimed showed planning and a possible murder-for-hire setup. The situation was building into a courtroom showdown that had Dallas, the hip-hop world, and true crime followers locked in with serious anticipation. In March 2025, more than 4 years after MO3 was killed on I-35E, a Dallas County grand jury officially indicted Yella Beezy on capital murder-for-hire charges. Under Texas law, that charge hits harder because money was allegedly used to make the hit happen. Prosecutors claim Conway put a payout on MO3, hiring Q and Dontrell White to carry out the attack as part of their long-running feud. The court schedule kept getting pushed back, which is common in big murder cases. The original April 2025 trial date was delayed, while both legal teams handled evidence issues and pretrial motions, eventually landing on February 2nd, 2026 for Conway's trial, with Brown set for November 2025. The amount of prep needed for charges this serious, charges that could bring life sentences, was massive. Pre-trial hearings covered everything from bond conditions to what evidence would be allowed and which witnesses could take the stand. Bond became one of the biggest legal fights, with both sides battling over whether Yella Beezy should stay locked up or be released while waiting for trial. After being booked in March 2025, Conway was originally held on a $2 million bond, which prosecutors said was fair because of his financial power and the serious charges he faced. But during a key March 27, 2025 hearing, the judge lowered his bond to $750,000 after the defense argued he had strong community ties, family responsibilities, and no violent convictions on his record. Then came the biggest shock. The financial evidence prosecutors said tied Yella Beezy straight to a murder-for-hire plan. This became the centerpiece of their entire case. The piece they claimed proved everything beyond doubt. The prosecution spent years stacking evidence to link Conway to the crime, and at the core of it were the money trails. Bank records showed Conway pulled $40,000 in cash just days after MO3 was killed, and prosecutors argued this was meant as payment for the hit. The defense pushed back, saying artists often take out large sums for normal business, but prosecutors pointed to bank surveillance footage, subpoenaed to confirm the timing and amount, as visual proof of what they called a suspicious withdrawal. Witness testimony was set to hit even harder, especially from White, who took a plea deal on lesser charges and agreed to testify in exchange for a reduced sentence. He claimed he knew about the payout and said he was hired by people connected to Yella's circle to carry out the attack on MO3. Digital records backed parts of this up, showing calls between Conway and White within 24 hours of the murder, along with cell tower data placing their phones near each other during key moments. Conway's legal team pushed hard on the 4+ years it took for charges to land, saying the whole case was built on circumstantial claims and street talk instead of real proof. They argued there were no messages, no transfers, nothing directly tying him to any kind of planned hit. They also went after the informant's credibility, pointing out White's criminal record and his plea deal, saying he had every reason to protect himself instead of giving a clean truth. Hip-hop figure Wack 100 also spoke out, saying he wasn't convinced the prosecution's cash withdrawal theory held weight. He broke down how pulling money doesn't automatically equal a payout, calling it a weak angle since artists often take out large amounts for normal business moves. Conway eventually posted his $750,000 bond and stepped out under strict house arrest, locked to GPS monitoring in order to avoid everyone tied to the case. In early November 2025, the judge adjusted his terms, giving him 5 hours a week to hit the studio so he could still record and keep his income flowing, something his team argued was necessary for his career and stability. Cases like this mirror other hip-hop situations where long-standing tension spun into something deadly, changing lives forever. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you on the next one.